Hey, friends, singers, musicians, performers. I hope your week's going great this week. I want to start with a question today. I want you to look at this t shirt that I'm wearing right now, and I want you to ask yourself, what does this simple t shirt tell you about me, Danny Robertson, as a musician, singer, performer, and human being? There's no logo, there's no branding, there's nothing particularly special about it. I probably got it at a store like Kohl's for about 10 bucks. It's nothing important. So, what might that say about me as a singer, musician, human being? It might mean I don't care about superficial things. It could mean that I'm an approachable person, which I think of myself as one. It could mean that I spend my money on other things that are more important to me. It could mean that I base my relationships with other people on the content of their character. There's tons of these possibilities. It could mean that I'm an authentic person. What you see is what you get. Could mean that I'm relatable. It could mean I'm down to earth. It could mean that I'm confident enough in my own skills and abilities and personality that I don't care about the shirt. That may or may not be true, but that could be the perception that I'm trying to give off. Maybe I'm simplistic. Maybe I'm minimalistic. Maybe I don't conform to societal norms. You don't necessarily know, but this simple t-shirt is giving you a whole bunch of information that you can have a perception about me based on what I'm wearing. And this same process applies to you and I as performers when we get on stage. Before we ever play a single note on stage, our audience has started forming opinions about us based on a lot of the things that they can see and perceive before the music starts. And one of those things is what you're wearing on stage. Welcome back to Danny Robertson Music, where we are helping you be the performer that you are meant to be. I'm Danny Robertson. Thanks for joining me, as always. Now, before we dive into this topic of what you can wear on stage, I do want to encourage you to check out DannyRobertsonMusic.com. If you haven't yet, we do a lot of deep dive trainings into the psychology of why you would choose to talk to your audience particular ways, how you would run your show in a particular way to try to engage and keep your audience engaged so that you're creating your best possible show. So if you haven't yet, definitely check out DannyRobertsonMusic.com. Take a look at our trainings, okay? So, believe it or not, what you wear on stage can completely affect how your audience perceives you, how they see you, how they choose to hear you, how they choose to behave with you. That's all affected by things like what you wear. So let me start by telling you about the special events band that I play with. I play with this group that does a lot of high-end weddings and corporate events. These are the kind of events that have budgets in the 5 and 6 figure range easily, and the band can easily make 4 or 5 figures in a single night. And now there's about 35 of us that cover these gigs in different places, sometimes doing 2 or 3 gigs at the same exact time. So as the band grew into what it is today, there was a point where the band leader and a few others made an intentional decision to change the expectation of what everyone wears on stage. We set the standard that everyone was going to be wearing black or white in whatever combination they wanted to, but it was those 2 colors. There's no grays, there's no patterns, and the only ones that are allowed to deviate from that are the singers for the band. Everybody else is strictly black or white or a combination of both. And why was that decision made? Well, it has to do a lot with the client expectation that we were dealing with that band. The black and white attire really sets a certain expectation for a polished, clean, professional look. And by setting that expectation with every single member of the band, when we go to play gigs, everybody looks kind of the same, and it creates this polished, nice look that adds for instant credibility. We look like we are pros before we ever start the show. And that just makes our job easier when we're doing high-end events. By going to that look alone, we've learned how to attract the clients that we want to work with, and we've done some really cool gigs because of it. But here's the thing. What I do with that band is not necessarily what you want to do with your live presentation. So why does stage attire matter? Well, it's simple. It's your first impression that you give to your audience, the people at the venue, potential clients. That's their first impression of you, good or bad. Professional attire is not the only option, but whatever you choose does send a message to the people that are watching you and paying attention to your performance. The outfits you wear are going to communicate how professional you are. the type of venues and events that you might be a good fit for, how seriously or not seriously you might take a performance. And believe it or not, venues and clients notice, sometimes faster than the rest of your audience. There are different approaches that you can have to stage attire. For example, the cleaned up, polished, and professional look. Suits, dresses, coordinated ties, coordinated colors. There's pros and cons to that. The pros might be it exudes professionalism and it shows that you have respect for your audience. That kind of look tends to fit higher paying gigs, weddings, corporate events, galas. It can be standardized for consistency. So everybody can look the same and you can add people into the band as needed and just say, wear a black outfit. And it also helps your band look like a solidified unit. You are prepared. You are one group of people that is doing things the right way together. So, what are the cons of something like that? Well, an easy one to think about is you have less personal expression. You can't wear a bright colored t-shirt to create this visual element that you really want. One that I struggle with because I have to wear ties all the time and I've got a pretty big neck. So for me, a professional outfit like that is a little bit restrictive. It's a little bit too tight. I don't like having a tie all the time because I have a big neck. So it actually can make it harder for me to sing. But that's the expectation that we've set for that band. It can be very uncomfortable to play in something like that in the middle of a hot summer day. You're running around, you're doing a lot of stuff, you're performing, and you're sweating your butt off because you are in this nice professional outfit, but it's very, very uncomfortable, very hot, and it's just not fun sometimes. That look can sometimes also be a little bit too much for, say, a club, a bar, an outdoor event, things like that, where it's going to be more relaxed. It's going to be more of a public situation where you're not trying to be super professional. In those cases, on rare occasion, the group that I play with will decide to dress down a little bit. And we might wear just, polo shirts as opposed to full on suit tie kind of setup. Usually on the hottest days of the year, that's when we do that. And it's only at public events, not anything private. When we play anything private, we are dressed to the nines. We are dressed as best as we can be. Now let's look at the opposite route. Maybe we choose to have a more relaxed and fun, inviting kind of look. Maybe jeans, trendy clothes, casual outfits. And this is a more common style choice that you see from a lot of live bands. Everybody has their own look, everybody has their own style, even amongst the individual players in the band. There are pros and cons to this too. The pros are it feels more approachable, it feels more relatable to the audience. It's more comfortable to play in. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to play more of those kinds of shows, but it usually doesn't fit the bill for the kind of shows that I'm trying to play most of the time. That kind of look tends to work better for clubs, local gigs, festivals, bar shows, outdoor events. It lets each musician show their personal style without overdoing it. But there are some cons to this too. It can look sloppy, not intentional. It may give your potential clients the impression that you are less professional. You don't work that hard to make the presentation as good as it can be. See how that might go? So yes, it's great, it's comfortable, but you might attract a lower level of client because of it. If you're looking for higher tiered gigs, you might not be able to scale to those higher tiered gigs until you start to think about a professional look or a consistent look at least. Now let's look at the more dramatic version of this. Stage costumes, a theatrical look. We've seen a lot of this through the years, and it's everything from people like Elton John, who has these elaborate, colorful, vibrant costumes, to people like Alice Cooper, who wear a lot of makeup, or Kiss. You're creating your own stage persona in this case. It's not that you're doing your authentic self, you're doing an exaggerated version. The pros of something like this are great. You create a unique brand for your live show. So for example, I know a group around here that they do a lot of 80s music, and this particular group has made a point to exaggerate the whole 80s theme. So they wear tight pants that are like vibrant colors, and they wear wigs on stage. Some of them have grown their hair out, and they live the 80s lifestyle when they're on stage. These guys don't look like that normally, but when they're on stage, they are 80s rockers, and they do it extremely well. There's immediate recognizability for an audience. They know your character, and it it adds an entertainment value that goes way beyond your music. In those kinds of bands, you can completely suck musically, but if your presentation skills are good, that is the kind of band that will really attract an audience because of the stage element of it. This kind of thing works really well if you want to play in something like a tribute band. Those kinds of shows attract big audiences. So on the flip side of all of this, there are some cons. That requires regular upkeep. You're going to have to keep those costumes up to date and looking really good. A show like that also might limit your versatility, which could impact what kind of shows you can play. That 80s band, for example, they're probably not going to be playing a ton of weddings. There's also a big risk of looking, what's the word I would say, gimmicky. Unless you execute it really, really, really well, people might think you look like a clown on stage. And that may or may not be a good thing depending on what you're trying to achieve. So how do you decide what kind of stage attire is right for you? Well, you really have to think about what kind of performer you want to be. So ask yourself some questions like this. What kind of attire is right for your audience? Are you trying to play weddings? Are you trying to play bars and clubs? Are you trying to play festivals? What kind of brand do you want to have? Do you want to be polished? Do you want to be laid back? Do you want to be theatrical? Even things like, do you want to be political? Look at a guy like Bruce Springsteen. He wants to sell the American dream, but another one might be like Rage Against the Machine. Everything that they sing and talk about in their music has a political agenda and theme behind it. And lastly, the most obvious question to this is, what are you comfortable with? What is your comfort level with where you want to perform, how you want to feel on stage while you perform? And then ask yourself this simple question. Does what I'm wearing match the experience that I want my audience to have? From there, it's entirely up to you. And by the way, there's no wrong answer to this. You do you the way that you see fit. So as we finish up this video, there are a couple of things I want to reiterate. Your outfit is an extension of your performance. So remember that, regardless of what you choose to wear, it is part of your show. Before you play a single note or say a single thing on stage, your audience will have already formed some opinions about you based on what you're wearing. So the next time you plan a show, don't just plan your set, plan what you're going to wear as well. Okay? And don't forget, if you do want to dive deeper into these kinds of topics where we help you with public speaking, we help you with creating a show that your audience will not forget, come check us out at Danny Robertson Music. I'd love to help you, okay? Other than that, best of luck on your next show. Best of luck on finding the outfit that fits you the best. And we'll see you soon. Take care.